In alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. We're going to continue our discussion of the different types of sins in Islam. And today we're going to speak about pointing weapons at other Muslims. We're going to also speak about adoption. And we're going to also speak about omens and superstitions. And we're going to speak about arguing with others. First of all, again, the other day we spoke about how Islam teaches us that we're not supposed to go around insulting or trying to hurt another Muslim with our tongue. Remember, the Prophet ﷺ taught us that if you don't have anything nice or positive to say about a thing or someone, to just shut up. Well, on that note, not only are we have to be careful or mindful of what we say out of our mouths, but also don't go around pointing a weapon at another Muslim to try to intimidate them either. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever points a weapon at another Muslim will be cursed by the angels, even if the person you're pointing to is your relative. An example, you get angry at your brother, so you get into an argument with him and you take a gun and tell him, look, if you don't shut up, I'm going to blow your head off with this gun, even though there's no bullets in the gun. But you're trying to do it to get him to see how serious you are. This is a sin in Islam. Under no circumstances can we allow ourselves to point a weapon at another Muslim like that, or a knife. Or how many of you get angry? You pick up a baseball bat and you tell your brother, if he don't shut up, you're going to bust him in the head with this baseball bat. This type of stuff is haram, guys. Because there's a thin line between anger and your personal jinn. Your personal jinn can push you to end up doing something that you will regret. And you'll end up hurting another Muslim. So this is another thing. When we talk about making sure that we are mindful of what we say out of our mouths, you want to also include being mindful when it comes to pointing weapons at other Muslims. And I hope this is clear to everyone, because I know a lot of people do this. Now, this doesn't mean that we can't, and I know because I'm going to say this, because somebody like Brother Muhammad might end up asking this after class. What if we're I'm in a karate class and we have to spar using swords? Is that lawful? Yes, that's different. That's called training. That's learning and training together. We can spar and train together and use weapons with each other that are, safe and secure. But we're not talking about sparring or training or playing like that. We're talking about you're getting angry and you're going to pick up a gun and point it at another Muslim. Does everyone understand the difference? Because I don't want after class to get some question, oh, Sister Layla, what about this? What about this, Sister Layla? I'm taking karate or something, and and all that. No, it doesn't matter. That's different. We're talking about deliberately, intentionally, trying to intimidate another Muslim with a weapon. And that brings us to the next sin. This is the sin known as not calling yourself to your father. In other words, this is bad English. In other words, referring to someone as being your relative when they are not. This is a form of adoption. This is a form of adoption here. Okay? You cannot call somebody your mother, or call somebody your father, or call somebody your sister or your brother if they are not your blood or foster brother or sister or mother or father. You cannot say that you belong to someone's family when you do not. This is why adoption is haram, because adoption involves, giving someone your name, making them your heir to your family when they're not blood related to you. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever calls himself someone his father who is not, and he knows that person is not his father, paradise will be forbidden for him. Whoever refers to someone as being a family member of theirs and they're not a real family member, paradise will be forbidden for you. So don't refer to people as being your mother and father and your sister and brother when they really are not. Also, people who do this have the curse of Allah on them. In another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the man who calls someone his father and knows he is not his father is not one of us, and his home will be the hellfire. So again, guys, adoption is haram. You can sponsor a child. Sponsor means, take care of a child that's not yours, but don't refer to that child as being yours. Don't try to think you can make that child your family, your inheritor and all of that, because this is a major sin in Islam. And that brings us to the next sin, which is the sin of being superstitious. Remember, guys, we as Muslims are not superstitious people. We don't believe in luck. We believe in Allah. And part of believing in Allah entails believing that everything that happens to us in life, both good and bad, they happen because Allah willed for it to happen. So we're not superstitious. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, superstition is blasphemy, and it is not in the doctrine of Allah. Superstition is a form of associating partners with Allah too, guys. So again, you find some Muslims who will say, oh, I don't know if I should go to work today. Why? I saw a black cat this morning. A black cat is a sign of bad luck. Astaghfirullah. We don't believe in that. Or I don't want to go to work today because I broke a mirror. I was combing my hair and my mirror broke. And they say if you break glass, you're going to have bad luck for 7 years. Astaghfirullah. I don't want to walk on a crack because if you walk on a crack, that means your father's going to break his back. This is all superstition. This is heresy. This is blasphemy. This all rejects the decree of Allah. So again, we have to free ourselves of superstition and bad omens. A 4-leaf clover represents good luck. That's astaghfirullah. That's not true. A rabbit's foot brings me good luck. We don't believe in this. This is all a form of associating partners with Allah. So you want to stay away from superstition and omens and all of that. And again, just as we talked about yesterday, Islam forbids men from wearing gold and silk. Islam forbids men and women from eating or drinking out of gold or silver containers. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the men, do not wear silk or silk brocade, and do not drink in gold or silver containers, nor eat in dishes made of gold and silver. Whoever eats in gold and silver, hell will gargle in his belly. So now the prohibition against eating and drinking out of gold and silver containers is not just a prohibition for men, but for women too. And you go to some of these restaurants, they serve coffee or tea in gold cups or gold plated cups. Like this picture here, this is glassware, but the top is gold. That's real gold. We can't drink out of that. Even though it's just the top part, the fact that it's real gold, we can't drink from that. And that's why I put that picture there, because you have to be careful. You go to some of these restaurants and they'll serve you coffee or tea, out of a glass that's plated with real gold around the top. No, we can't drink from that. Ask for a regular glass cup or something. Okay? And that brings us to the sin of arguing about the religion and etc. Again, as Muslims, we don't go around hurting one another with our tongues and hands. And also Allah hates people that go around arguing and disputing the religion and arguing and disputing other things in life. Allah says in the Quran, in the interpretation, the meaning, there's a type of person whose speech about this worldly life may dazzle you. And he calls Allah to witness about everything that's in his heart. But he is one of the most hated enemies. When he turns his back, his aim everywhere is to just simply spread trouble through the earth. How many of you know people like this? Every time you run into that sister or that brother, they always talk about something that happened, and they swear by Allah. Wallahi, what I'm saying is true. Wallahi this, wallahi that. Allah hates people like that. They ain't got nothing good to say about anything. They want to talk about other people. They want to talk about things that happen. And everything is wallahi. They want to swear by Allah to everything that they say. And nothing they say is ever good. Allah hates people like this. They are the most hated of people. So again, guys, beware of that. You don't want to be a troublemaker, a person that other people run away from, because every time you come around, you're going to argue about something. You want to argue about politics. You want to argue about the religion. Or you want to talk about somebody and how bad some other person is and what some other person did and swear by Allah. True. You know, don't nobody want to be around a person like that. And Allah hates such a person. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation, the meaning. Those who argue about the signs of Allah without any authority in them, there is nothing in their hearts except greatness, which they shall never attain. Also, Allah says in the Quran, in the interpretation of meaning, and argue not with the people of the book. And we got people, Muslims running around arguing with Christians, arguing with Jews, arguing with the pagans, arguing with each other. Allah hates people who do this. We don't argue about the religion or anything else with one another. The Prophet ﷺ said the most hated people in the sight of Allah are people who like to dispute. Also, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever argues in a quarrel with knowledge, he remains under Allah's anger until he stops. So if you're a person of knowledge and you still want to argue about the religion, even though what you're arguing may be true, you still have the anger of Allah on you, because Allah does not like us to do this. As the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ once told two men who he heard arguing, is this what Allah sent me to do? To teach you the Quran, and you're going to sit here and argue with each other, this verse over that verse? Also, the Prophet ﷺ said, no nation goes astray except for the ones who go around arguing about their religion. Okay, so this is what brought the destruction of Christianity. This is what brought the destruction of Judaism. And this is what brings Islam to looking bad and terroristic, arguing and debating the religion. We have to avoid doing that. And this brings us to the last sin for today. This is the sin of cutting off parts of your bodies, torturing yourself undeservedly. This goes hand in hand with tattooing yourself, wearing fake hair. Look how many Muslims go around how many people put piercings in their body. You want to pierce your private parts, pierce your nipples, pierce your belly button, pierce your tongue. This is forbidden in Islam. Listen to what Allah tells us that Shaitan says. He says, Shaitan says, I will mislead them And I will create in them false desires, and I will order them to slice the ears of cattle and to deface the nature created by Allah. What does he mean when he says deface the nature? In other words, deface the human body. Allah did not create you to have a hole in your tongue with a ball in it. But when you pierce your tongue, that's what you've done. You've defaced the nature of Allah, the creation of Allah. When you put a earring on your nipples, you've defaced the creation of Allah. You pierce your belly button. You've defaced the creation of Allah, guys. We don't do this. This is not Islamic. You Muslims need to stop trying to be like the kafir with these tattoos and these piercings. You can pierce your ears and you can pierce your nose, but that's it. That's the only thing, your ears and your nose. Other than that, you should not be piercing no other parts of your body. Not your lips, not your breasts, not your stomach, your butt, none of that. And the same thing, we don't go around cutting off the body parts of animals either. Cutting off your cattle's ears and emasculating horses and all that stuff. So these are some sins that we need to remind ourselves to stay away from. The piercing, body piercings, they go hand in hand with tattooing and wearing fake hair. Also arguing about the religion, debating the religion, this is a sin. Drinking and eating out of gold and silver containers, be careful of that. Also being superstitious, believing in omens and all of that. Pointing a weapon at another Muslim out of anger. These are sins we have to educate ourselves of and stay away from. On that note, we'll stop right here for today. If you guys have any questions or comments, inshallah, you can type them on the screen. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Question?